What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Champions Club podcast. I'm your host, Salar Brooks, and I got my guest here, Jessica, and I know she about to cook. And so, man, she is a social media expert, marketing expert, branding expert, and she has a really cool story. And one thing that I love about what you do is because you've built a brand around helping women with it's like spiritual growth, mental health. And so I just thought that was really dope. And then this season of the Champions Club podcast, I feel like I want to have more female guests that come on in that space because you don't really see a lot of people that's talking about women's mental health in our area. And you like a trailblazer in it. So, man, I appreciate you for coming on to the show. Oh, my bad. You know, I be trying to dap it up. But before we get started, y'all know how we do, because you got to speak things into existence. What the heck was that? Anyway, one day the Champions Club podcast will be sponsored by Jarritos, your favorite sodas from Mexico. They got 13 different fruiticious and delicious, They got 13 different fruiticious and delicious flavors, and I love them all. So the next time you're at your favorite Mexican joint, make sure you grab a Jarrito, because Jarritos is the official drink of tacos.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to work on my ad read.
Yes.
But my wife put me onto them things about like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just been drinking them ever since. So
my husband loves those too.
Mm-hmm.
He gets the alcoholic ones. They have alcoholic versions of it.
I see. But I don't drink. You know.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
I be having to stay sober. You know?
I get that.
But man, enough about Jarritos and me. This is all about you. So, give me a little bit. Tell me why it's really big for you to focus on women's mental health. Did you go through things in the past that made you feel like you've been there and you kind of want to get that platform going for women?
For sure. I mean, how deep are we trying to go?
Man, deep as you want to. Just keep it real.
Yeah, for sure. So pretty much I grew up in a house where there was like chaos. I have a family member who struggles with addiction. Mm-hmm. So, of course, naturally, that's going to affect your mental health in the long run, right? You grow up around all that stuff and then it hits you, right? Yeah. So, for me, by the time I was 18, my mental health was definitely struggling. And I was kind of at a crossroad of do I want to go down the path of chaos and what I saw that family member with addiction and stuff going through, or did I want to go down a different path? And so by the time I was 18, I was like, I want to go down this different path. And so I really tried to take care of my mental health. I really dove into my personal growth and healing. And I mean, it was an ebb and flow, right? Yeah. Ebb and flow, as we all know. But through that, I mean, I definitely struggled with my own anxieties and depression, suicidal thoughts. But I mean, we're up now, right?
Yeah,
we see the light now. We see the light. And so that was my goal by the time I was 18 is like, I wrote a letter to myself and I was like, I'm in the dark right now and I want to find the light. Mm-hmm. And so that was my journey about a little over a decade ago now.
Yeah.
It's been like 11 years now since I wrote that letter and I can say I found the light. So
man, girl, finding the light. You is the light. You was the light now.
Yeah.
Man, it was crazy because I love everything that you said. But when you told me that, you went through that healing process, what did that work look like? Because I think a lot of people talk about the healing, but there's not a lot of people that talk about the steps.
Yeah.
So what steps did you take to start healing?
I feel like it's really messy, but I think the first part is really just being aware of yourself, right? Like not victimizing yourself. Like I had the decision to either blame everything in my past, blame my family, blame this and that, or I could choose to take recognition myself and choose to work on myself. I think that's the first part is like, you have to do the work. No one's going to do it for you. Yeah. So that's number one. And I firstly just started with like simply reading books, right? It doesn't have to be hard. I was too scared to go to therapy at first, so it didn't look like going to therapy. Getting myself in groups around other people, looking at other people who were doing the things too. That starts as well as like, who are you surrounding yourself around, right? Are you around people who are also like bringing you down too, or are you around people who are uplifting you? Yeah. And then I think the next part of that is like, yes, like you want to go deeper, go to therapy, start doing like the actual like emotional work around it and letting yourself feel things too.
Yeah, man, girl, you just hit all these different bases. And what's crazy is because you started doing the work at 18.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is because when it comes to therapy, a lot of people, they do have a fear going to
Yeah.
therapy, whether it's being judged or going there. Actually, it's a mental like thing that you have to do to yourself to admit that you need help.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you. So for a long time, even now, I struggle with anger. I've been wanting to beat the brakes off people, right? And so I went to BetterHelp.com.
I love it.
Right? And so I started doing like anger management. And
Yeah.
what's crazy is because I actually had to cancel. This was a couple years ago. I had to cancel. I was like, bro, I'm so broke. I can't afford to get the help I need. Because like at first I thought it was like you know, a one. I think a monthly fee or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like they said it was like $45 a week or something like
Yeah.
that. Or I was like, oh, okay, that's what's up. No, $45 a month. There we go. It's $45 a month.
Okay.
I'm like, I can do that straight
Yeah.
up. So I did the $45 a month, and I was like, man, I could do all the anger management I want. This is
Yeah.
dope. So I was doing my classes, booking multiple sessions with my actual therapist. I was doing the morning classes, breathing classes. I was on that call like a
Awesome.
lot, and then I got the bill for like $1,500. Yeah, man, it was like $45 a month per week per class.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, I got to cancel. Yeah,
Yeah.
it but I started reading books because that's the free way of learning.
Exactly.
But I think it's really cool because a lot of people don't have that self-awareness at a young age, like you did at 18, to not blame people. That's the self-accountability, which,
Yeah.
awareness creates self-accountability,
Yeah.
which is hard. A lot of people don't want to admit.
Yeah.
What kind of books did you read?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I just want to say how amazing that is that you took that accountability yourself to do those classes because it
Yeah.
is so hard to do that. And also as a man, like
Yeah.
that is so like hard. So shout out to you.
Hey, appreciate
but
it.
I was actually looking at your books over there
Yeah,
and I'm
okay.
like, those are some of the books I have myself.
Yeah.
There is one, I think it's called, I want to I could have the wrong name, but it was like resilience. There's something about resilience. I read a book also about like spiritual growth too. I mean, I remember myself also reading one about money. Man, I wish I had the names of these.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll send them to you
Hey,
after.
but you
yeah.
was reading. You was
Yeah.
reading. And what's crazy is because to me, that's what opened up my mind was also reading. Because like I grew up being bullied. I talk
Yeah.
about it a lot. I got beat up every day. Like
Really?
at home by my older brother and then also in school.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, like when I turned like 15, I just went crazy and beating the brakes off everybody.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was other ways to handle problems other than violence, right? So my guidance counselor, she was like, Selah, you know that if you got a problem with somebody, you don't have to fight them.
Right.
I was like, what? I don't. And so she gave me a like a little stock card type thing, and she was like, here's some Bible verses. She wrote them down.
I love that.
And then my friend Josephine, her mom was from Africa. She gave me a Bible. She's like, take this little Bible, and it was like a little pocket one. And she was like, your name is in Psalms, and start reading it. So I started reading the Bible, was one of the first books I read.
I love that.
And then I started to realize, like, man, there is other ways to handle problems. My problem was when the problem is there, not to react to the problem, right? But I just figured the more I consume, the more I use my brain, and then the more I can like find different ways to handle things. So reading is most definitely a huge step in the development. So as you sit here today, what would you say to the 18-year-old girl before you started doing the healing?
Okay. Well, first of all, I also want to just go piggyback on the Bible and God and all of that. That's a huge part of my journey too. And
Yeah.
I love that you brought that up. Yes, that is 100% a great book to go to. I personally use a devotional. It's just easier for me to process things because a Bible is, to me, sometimes hard to read.
It is.
Yeah, but a devotional is a great book too. But anyways, yeah. So going back to what would I say to my 18-year-old self?
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I think about this often, going back to her, and it's just like, you got this, Like, I think that when you're in that crossroad of like what you're going to do, you have no clue, like you want to do better. You see the people around you, you feel kind of discouraged. No one really understands you either. I think, especially at that age, like everybody's out partying, right? Even when I was 21, like I was the only one in my group that was sober. Like I decided to completely not drink alcohol. So letting myself know that it was okay to be misunderstood. Yeah. It was okay to be kind of a lone wolf because it was all gonna work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
what's crazy is I know you say you had things going on in the home.
Yeah.
Did you ever have a conversation with the people that was in the home when you got older? Because sometimes I feel like, me personally, since I had trauma in my home, when
Yeah.
people came around, even as I was getting older, I still felt scared of people because of their presence. So then I had to confront them, and then I mean, I did end up beating the brakes off my brother, but
Yeah.
it sucked now, but then it felt good. But I had to
Yeah.
confront them to get over the internal fear. And sometimes confrontation don't even have to be like a physical, like
Yeah.
I talked to my one friend. I'm like, bro, talk to your uncle. Hey man, why did you give me a cigarette at 15? Why were you doing these things? He was like, man, I was messed up, and that's what
Yeah.
people did to me, and I thought I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Some people that like cause you the trauma, sometimes, man, they hurt themselves and it just passes on. So like, have you ever had any of those conversations with those people?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely had, like, I'm a very confrontational person. I can be very honest, like, with people, even right when it's happening, or the next day. So yes, I've had conversations. I share with them, like, hey, this really, like, hurt me growing
Yeah,
up. You did this, and this really messed with my head.
yeah,
Um, but I think the other side of that is being able to understand them. Not saying that it's okay, but you're kind of like now able to see, like, oh, so that's why you were the way you were.
yeah,
That's why you do that. And even if I confront that too,
yeah.
sometimes they might not take that the right way,
Straight up,
and
that's
it
true.
might just recycle, but at least you can kind of just see it for what it is. Like,
Yeah.
okay, that person went through some stuff that like caused them that way. Now, for my brother, same thing. I had kind of stuff with my brother too. He's the one who struggles with addiction. No, the answer to that is probably no. I'll try to call it out when it happens, but
Yeah.
sometimes you can't go through, and that's when you set the boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
boundaries is huge for me.
That's straight up. So let's talk about the sisterhood,
Yeah.
co. There is one thing to go through something, but there's another thing to go through something and then build a platform for other people and help them. So talk to me about starting that project. What did it look like? How did the idea come about? And then like, what was the action plan? Because I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it couldn't have been easy.
Yeah. I mean, at first it was definitely scary. So I had a branding and design agency. I worked remote. I mean, I was able to quit my 9 to 5 in 2020, went full time with that, but was working completely remote at home all the
Yeah.
time. My husband works in person, so I pretty much is at home all the time by myself behind a laptop or
Yeah.
a phone screen. And after 5 years of doing that, anybody who works remote can say the same thing. You get tired of that. It feels lonely, right? It starts to affect your mental health. So I noticed that myself, and it was starting to affect my mental health. And so I dove into myself with that, did therapy on that too, but like also got out in community and connecting with others and realized like, man, we really need something here in Northwest Indiana.
Yeah.
And so I started doing events. I'm a little bit deeper, so I wanted to go even deeper with my events.
I see.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we go deep. We go deep.
Yeah.
I really want people to get personal growth out of it too. Like
Yeah.
not just coming to an event and you just have fun, but like really getting something out of it. Because that's what I want and have always wanted, a space where like we're here to lift each other up. We're not here gossiping, talking about other people, bringing each other down. Like we're here to lift ourselves up and lift
Yeah.
other people up. And
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah,
we're there.
What the crazy thing is, from just women that I know in my past and stuff like that, like friends and family members, the biggest reason why they don't want to go to events like that is because the same things that you talked about. Because there is a narrative about women that they messy and they picky,
Yeah.
and they really petty and all these other things.
Yeah.
And when you go to an event like that, or you get into a space with a bunch of women, it's almost as if it's judging and trying to tear people down.
Exactly.
So what are some of the things that you did to be able to like kind of like kill that and then really make it an uplifting space for people?
I think first it's like I have to embody that myself, right? Like so if like drama comes my way or like judging other people is around, right? I try to stay away from that myself.
Yeah.
Or try to even confront it too. And then I think the other part is like when I am creating content, sharing my message, like I'm really focused on the good. I'm really focused on lifting one another. And at our events, I will always say in the beginning, like, this is a safe place for you. And while I'm doing my best to build that for all of you, I also expect that for you guys too. Like, you guys, please be kind to each other. Please have a no judgment, like judgment-free zone. really come with kindness and love, because that's what we're all here for.
Yeah,
so
straight
I
up.
think even that from the beginning gets people like, oh yeah, okay, I'm safe here. I can let go. I don't have to be on guard, because I think that's what sometimes
Yeah.
gets people in their head too.
So, have you ever had any issues with
No,
that?
actually,
That's
no.
what's up,
Like
because
the
you've been
people
doing this
have
for
been
a while.
amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. Like Northwest Indiana people, like, I don't know. It's great. I really, really love them here.
That's good,
Yeah.
man. So, talk to me a little bit about like the format, because
Yeah.
some people, when they do something like this and they create this platform, because they went through it themselves, they almost take people through a framework, and they almost become like a coaching session style like company or event. What I like about how you do it is you actually collaborate with others.
Yeah.
And you have them lead things like because Jackie went to one of the events and she said there was some stretching going on.
Yeah.
Do y'all have what the heck is those things called? Tibetan singing bowls?
Tibetan singing. Oh, you know what? I know what you're talking about. Like sound baths, things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What they do like this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah. So like you reach out to these people and you collaborate.
Yeah.
What made you lean towards doing it that way, and having people that come in and you guys collab on this event and then they kind of structure the activities?
Honestly, like it just kind of landed that way. I don't even know. So I remember your other business collaborated with me on that Dare to Bloom event. And that was the first ever time I kind of did a mini retreat type of experience. And after that, it changed everything. It's like, wow, like if I really let people in on this vision too, and they get to bring their gifts to the space, like it's tenfold. Like it honestly helped people so much. So after I did that one time, it was like, I have to do this forever, because I, one, give other people the space to bring their gifts, and two, bring a community to experience those gifts.
Right.
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
With the women, so I watch some of the videos and stuff like that. Because I always try to check out what you're doing and support.
Yeah.
They be having them a good old time.
Yeah.
Straight up, man. They be
Yeah.
having a good old time.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing that made me realize that it is actually impacting women in a positive way is because, I go to a lot of networking events and business events, and I'm just outside with it, right?
Yeah.
And I remember hearing somebody talk about one of the events that you recently had last year, and I didn't say anything, I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but when I heard your name,
Yeah.
and she was like, I had a really great time. I met some friends. She didn't say I met people. I met friends. She said I felt uplifted, and it was great. Like, when people leave the space and then they talk about that space in a great way, that's how you know that it's hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, have anybody ever thanked you or came up to you and told you like, I appreciate you for doing this, and to share the growth with you?
Yeah, honestly, it's insane. Like I've seen so many testimonials, reviews, like almost to the point where it's overwhelming, right? Like I can't even store all of it in my head, but it's so exciting and just makes me so happy. And I think that like I try not to let that get to my head either. It's like, yes, like we're doing our mission, let's keep going, let's keep helping more people.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the time, like I'm hearing really great things. I just want to keep doing it and helping others.
So let's talk about like the content side.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No, yeah.
So where does when you talk about like the message and the brand, where does your mind go to make content to push out there that's going to connect with people?
Yeah. Okay, so because I have a branding background, I really believe branding is not just about the aesthetic. It's really about connecting with your audience. So to me, when I'm creating content, that's what I'm thinking about. Like, what is this piece of content doing? Is it connecting to my audience? Is it speaking to them? Are they going to feel like they are a part of this brand when I put that out there? So that's like my number one thing that I'm thinking about. And I think just like pulling down, like, what are my main pillars in content, and like making sure I stick to that. Like, I don't want to just put out anything. I want to make sure that we are showing our values, we're showing what we're about, and we're just setting the vibe.
Yeah. So how do you judge like the success of an event? You know what I mean? Like what's the metric? Is it like attendance? Is it like the vibe? Like how do you track success for these events?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's attendance. It is the vibe. I mean, we just, like, for our last event, we sold out in 48 hours, which is awesome.
Yeah, I had seen that.
Yeah. So, like, I am looking at data on a business side. I am looking at data like that. Like, how many people do we have show up? How fast are we booking out? What are the reviews looking like? Even also from the people we partner with, you know, like what did they think? Did they feel like it was successful for them? And
Yeah.
are they getting business out of it? Because we want to help the small local businesses too.
Oh, okay. So these are for I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not only for business professionals, but a lot of business professionals is in your audience.
Well, I would say like the people we collaborate with. So
Got you.
like
Okay.
them, like
Yeah.
are they like getting like, you know, clients or customers or just people interested in their business after collaborating with us? That's really important to me.
Yeah, man. I just think it's really dope. And as a person that's like on the outside, you know, and that's looking in, um, I see a lot of great things and like transformation. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
like I mean, I don't want to just keep sounding like a broken record, but you can tell that people are enjoying it. And listen, I've been to some myself, you know, kind of like with the photo booth and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Man, some of them things is a sleep fest, you know? And so like the fact that you've been able to really find a way to keep people engaged is a
Yeah.
great thing. Because when Jackie came back, she's like, I loved it. She's like, I want to go to more. Let me know when they have the next one, you know? But talk to me about your brand and background.
Yeah.
Because like, is this something that's been in you as a kid? You loved it, or did you kind of like find
Yeah.
this later on in life? How did that come about?
I do think it was in me as a kid. Like I remember myself as a kid just always wanting to be very creative and
Yeah.
always drawing. I think even by the time I was like 12 years old, I had bought a camera and was already like taking pictures of things. I remember when MySpace was a thing.
Okay.
I was always customizing my
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So were you one of the people who got paid to customize other people's
No, I
MySpace
was too
pages?
young. I was too
Okay.
young.
Yeah, I just remember being in like fourth grade or fifth grade when MySpace came out, and I used to have one of my older homies. They used to pay him to manage people's MySpace and like to design them and stuff like
Wow.
that. But yeah, that's why I was like, man, this thing is crazy. Because that was like Facebook
Yeah.
before Facebook, and then yeah, straight up. So, okay, MySpace era,
Yeah.
and you liked it.
Yep.
So how did you take those skills and then put it into branding?
Yeah, and so like even in high school, I got into publications. Publications was like design,
Yeah.
photo, all of that. And when I came to college, I was thinking maybe I'd do that, but then you know everyone's like, oh, you don't really make much money, da da da. So I ended up going into accounting because I was good at it. Went into the accounting career, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is all I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Be in this cubicle
Yeah.
under fluorescent lighting, which I absolutely hate, and then look at numbers all day. And so I even found myself even doing like PowerPoint decks and stuff for my team. So yeah, with that, I really decided like, okay, let's go in. So I remember myself one day coming back from work and writing it out on a board. Okay, we're going to do photography. We're going to do design. We're going to do websites. We're going to do strategy, branding. And I went all in after that.
Yeah.
I started out with photography because that was the lowest hanging fruit from the tree, and started booking brand shoots. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, from there, I kept going and learning.
So how did you educate yourself? Because you went to college for accounting,
I know.
and then you stepped away from something that's completely different than
I know.
accounting. So how did you educate yourself when it comes to like branding? Like who did you watch? Who did you try to say like, oh, I like the way they do it? Like what courses did you take?
I took one course.
Okay.
One course. And here's the thing too, because I think this happens with entrepreneurs. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but they'll take tens of millions of courses, right? And then they don't take any action.
True.
So I took one course and I started taking clients right away. After that, you can continue refining because branding too, like I learned the strategy, but the creative part,
Yeah.
you can't like take a course and learn that. So it only takes time and practice.
Yeah.
So yeah, after more and more clients, I just kept learning.
You had to develop.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like you said, the kind of refining, you took the course and stuff like that. How do you look at a business brand and then a personal brand? Because like when I do my social media classes, there's a lot of business owners who they don't understand branding in general, right?
Yeah.
But then their business becomes their personal brand.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh well, you know, I have to stay in this little box or whatever. So like how does your brain work when you think about those two categories?
It depends on what the person wants. I personally think that there's so many benefits to developing a personal brand and a business brand and like kind of letting them mesh together.
I believe that too, straight up.
Because at the end of the day, like people love to hear your story. They love to know why you're creating what you're creating, and that's what they're paying for, right? Because
Yeah.
there's tens of millions of other people who are probably doing the same thing that you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I personally feel like I think that answers your question, right? Like
Straight up, yeah,
like
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think that both brands are beneficial, and
Mm-hmm.
the only difference is maybe with like a business brand, you're kind of bringing less of your face on there, and you're focused more on the mission and maybe the team or the people that you're serving.
Do you feel like somebody's personal brand can be their business brand?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when I did my branding and design agency, it was more focused on just me as the
Yeah.
person, and then people loved that intimacy too, like where they're like investing in working with me.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think sometimes what I see is that some business owners or entrepreneurs don't show their face enough. And then all the content becomes about the business, and that can get boring. Like as somebody that's scrolling on social media, you know, nice water tank, bro, like
Yeah.
plumbing, cool, but they miss out on the emotional connection, you know? And so like to me, my brain goes to back to like the first rule that they tell you when it comes to business is that people buy from people. You know,
Exactly.
so in a way, you still should sell yourself unless you're like one of these big corporate brands or whatever. But like, man, if you're a small business, bro, you best believe you better be selling yourself because just like you said, I mean, there's probably tons of people that's doing what you do. But then the question becomes like, why should I do business with you?
Exactly.
You know, and I think this is why I really admire what you do because you will see a lot of branding agencies or marketing agencies and you don't see their face. You don't
Right.
even know who they are, you
Right.
know? And so like, is this a strategy that you use because you know that and like you
Yeah.
try to like play to your strengths
Yeah.
for like as far as like your business brand and personal brand go?
Definitely. Like even with Sisterhood Social,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I made sure my face was in there from the beginning, that my story was in there from the beginning, and people connected to that. People connected to me,
Mm-hmm.
and that helped exponentially. And I know, like, so a future vision is to grow into another city, hopefully
Oh, snap.
in the next couple months.
Okay.
But still, even with that, I'm gonna have someone as the face of Northwest Indiana. So always having a face, because think about it, right? Even Geico, right? So Geico has the lizard as their face, basically. But like you see that as a persona for the brand. So it's like even if like large scale companies, they don't have necessarily a person, they have something. What's the guy from State Farm? What's his name? Do you know Jake?
Jake
From State Farm, right? Okay. The fact that we even just thought about that, right?
Yeah.
There's a face to State Farm. So even large businesses do it too.
Yeah, man, you cooking. You
Yeah,
straight up cooking.
yeah.
Man, so what has been one of the biggest challenges that you faced with actually trying to grow the Sisterhood Co. into what it is? You know what I mean? Because like I said,
Yeah.
it couldn't have been easy. So like, what are some of the challenges that you faced doing that?
Finding a place that's big enough for us. Because we're
What?
growing so fast.
Dang, that's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem. But it is a problem because, you know, our tickets sell out so fast, and then we have people on our wait list or people reaching out and saying like, hey, like, you know, can I get in, this and that? And it's really hard, you know. I hate
Yeah.
saying no to people. And I just know we could be so much bigger if we had more bigger spaces out here.
Do you guys like not want to host it at the same spot? Do you try to make it different each time? Is that also a
I
problem?
tried to, yeah, just to like collaborate with other places, and also just like capacity for most venues. Like
Yeah.
they can't usually do it like every single month for us. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just hard. It's hard. That's our biggest challenge.
Dang, that's a good problem to have
Yeah,
though. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So it's because like if you look back at what your first event was to what it is now, it's like,
Yeah.
man, shoot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, just being able to find a space, I feel like if that's the problem, bro.
It's a problem, yeah.
So like when that happens, do you guys usually like think about downsizing the events, or is that never even a thought that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, like this event that we're doing is like 75 people. So like to me, that's a smaller event versus like maybe our festivals where we have like 250 people. So I
Wow.
mean, like, yeah, I mean, there's times where we have to limit. We just have to really limit our tickets.
Just straight up.
Yeah.
So you know, let's shift gears a little bit because I do want to touch a little bit more on like on you.
Yeah.
So when you have women that come to you, do you have anybody that ever like say that they look up to you and they're like, you know, because to me you that thing. You see what I'm saying? And I like I said, outside looking in, like you're always positive. You know what I mean? And I remember there was times where you would show up. I would watch some of your stories, and you're
Yep.
just talking about like like mental health. And some people would see that as a weakness and not want to talk about it. and you know, like you get on there and you know, hey, listen, you know, we gonna have to talk about it, and you very direct with it. So like, what has been some of the feedback that you got from people that you may know or may not know about you kind of stepping out there for that?
Absolutely. So I want to give two sides to that because yes, people now are saying like, "Oh my gosh, you're so inspiring. I love what
Yeah.
you do." Da da da. But I want to talk to the people who may just be starting because when I first started, I did have people who judged me and were honest about it and shared with me like, "Why are you sharing that? You're sharing too much. You're
Yeah.
doing too much." And at first, I was like, "Oh my gosh, like maybe I shouldn't share this." But now, that doesn't even faze me.
What gave you the conviction to share it?
That other people might be feeling that too. Because that was what I wrote in my letter when I was 18 was I'm going through this, I'm going to find the light, and I'm going to share it with other people.
You know, I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Because they're nervous what everybody else is going to think. My biggest thing about like talking about like being bullied and like physically abused and like being robbed and all this other stuff is just like people would judge me, right? But I think since you did so much work on yourself, you're happy with who you are.
Exactly.
I don't give a man what. I
Yeah.
could care less what you think, you know? And so like for me, since I knew I did the work, like what you gonna say about, you can't say anything about me that I ain't already said.
Exactly.
Even if people say, well, you don't think this is gonna cost you some business, well, if it do, they won't gonna do business with me anyway. And I think we go around in this world and we so worried about being liked.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? Like, real talk, we want everybody to like us. But guess what? If everybody likes you, then nobody really likes you. You know, and I had to actually, like, grow into my own. I had to be like, you know, I am who I am. Like, I tell you, the first time I went to a networking event, I was the only black dude there. You know, and I know you might understand how it feels, you know, to be like the only person like you going to an event, right? And a lot of times when I go to a networking event, I'm the only black dude there.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to have different interests. I'm going to pull up different. You see what I'm saying? I was pulling up. I was bumping Future. Some of these things might be like, you know, oh, we don't like that, you know. But other people can do what they like, you know. But if I do it, it's a problem. And I had to be like, you know what, man? I ain't trying to please nobody.
I love that.
I'm gonna do me. And then people who do business with me is going to be 100% because of me, not because of anything else. And like, how do you think people can find who they are and start being happy with who they are?
I'm going to piggyback on that story because it's about being the lone wolf. It's about being okay with not doing what everybody else is doing, not being like everybody else. Like, I go back to when I was 21, right? And I told you I was like one of the only ones who was sober. Everybody was out partying, drinking, which is great. I'm all for having fun, don't get me wrong. But that taught me to be okay, get so good with being okay with being the only one who's doing something different. To be okay with if I'm not accepted, to be okay if I'm rejected. Just getting so good at that. I think that to me was like a big part of the healing. Does that answer your question?
No,
Sorry,
it does. But you know, what the biggest thing is that, like, I just talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah.
They are asking me because I'm 26, right? And so they was like, man, you know, you wise, you sharp, and you know, you going in the right places. And how did you get that mindset? I was like, bro, I spent a lot of years by myself. You know, like even though I grew up in a household of 6, so I had a single mom with 6 kids, right? I was the middle child, and that's a curse when you're the middle child. We get it. It's rough because you know, you're too young to play with the older kids and too old to play with the younger kids. So even in a way, like, I was in a small house, but I always felt alone, right? Because I was just always doing my own thing. Then I ended up moving with my dad. So now, you know, I'm by myself because he ain't got no other kids. So, and my dad always worked 2-3 jobs. So I'm in the house by myself. And I remember the first couple months I was miserable because I didn't have anybody to talk to. Once I got past that, it was like, I love being by myself. I'll be having fun with Selah, spending time with Selah. And I started to develop my own thoughts, my own viewpoints.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? My own personality, my own character. And then when I went to school, everybody went my friend, and I was completely okay with that. And then, but the people who I'm locked in with, man, we locked in. I got brothers in Mobile, Alabama. I ain't been there since 8th grade, and we still talk almost every day. And so I think the one thing for people, like, you really have to take time alone. You got to isolate yourself from the world because I had this conversation. If you don't know who you are, the world and society will tell you who you are.
Yes.
Like, I was told I was a punk. I was told I was weak. I was told I was going to prison. They told me who I would be, and I, you know,
Exactly.
I just went along with it. But you have to like isolate yourself. And I think when you said that you spent like 5 years, I think it is, like
Yeah.
being at the desk, sometimes we
Yeah.
look at that as a tough time, but I'm pretty sure you learned a lot about
I
yourself
did. Yeah.
during that time period, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is dope, bro. It's like
Yeah.
you gotta spend time by yourself.
You do.
So I like to try to give like little frameworks and conversations. What are some of the things that people can do by themselves, or how can they start spending time with themselves? Women, how can women
Yes.
start spending time with themselves?
So this is perfect because this goes back to sisterhood social, right? I'm building a community, but we're talking about being alone or kind of connecting to ourselves. But that is in the sisterhood social framework. So we have a 3-part framework where connection to self, connection to community, and connection to your own expression. And so like what I would recommend is those 3 things. Start there. How are you going to connect to yourself? It can be as simple as just journaling. It could be as simple as just taking a second to breathe. It
Yeah.
could be taking some time to read something that inspires you, going out on maybe at one point I was doing like monthly CEO dates and I was taking myself out to like a cafe or something, like do something.
So you took yourself out to a cafe?
Yeah,
That's huge.
yeah,
Can we talk about that for a second?
yeah.
Did you take yourself to a cafe to celebrate yourself, or did you take yourself to a cafe to distance yourself?
I feel like almost both.
Hey, I
Yeah.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Man, the first time that you did that, how did that feel?
It felt good.
Yeah.
It felt really good. I mean, I think it's almost like crucial. You got to do that. You got to really like see how you really enjoy spending time with yourself. Because otherwise, when you're out with other people, you're just going to be focused on, you're not going to be focused on you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, do you have
You're going for the wrong
kids?
reason,
Do you
to
have
say.
a mom? Are you a mom or?
I don't have kids.
No?
I don't.
Okay.
Mom, dad, 2 older brothers. I'm the youngest of 3. Husband. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
So, did anybody teach you, like what you know now about like personal development, healing, spending time with yourself, learning how to be alone? Did anybody teach you this, or is this stuff that you learn on your journey?
I learned most of it on my journey. Social media was a big part of that, seeing other people. But I will say I do want to give my parents credit because they immigrated here from Mexico and they have grit. They have resilience. They are the type of people who, I mean, we lived in South Chicago, Calumet City, and then they were able to buy a house in St. John, Indiana, which is huge. Like, that's huge. And they had so much grit and resilience to do that. So I'll take that for sure from them. They helped me have that type of mindset. And then social media was the other part.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I just had a guest on here. Shout out to him. He owns the Backspin Lounge in Crown Point. And he talked about his parents' work ethic. Is a big reason of why he moves the way that he does. And I think he's like 22.
Wow.
And so like when it comes to your parents, when you were young, did you know that by watching them that they were actually instilling work ethic in you? Because you be working.
Yeah,
You be working. Like since I know how hard it is to just be consistent on social media with the quality, I know that's a lot of back end work.
Yeah.
So like what does that feel like to just know that this is just what's in, you don't even have to try hard to work hard? What does that even feel like? That's just dope.
Yeah, I definitely have been working hard. I've been in a season of hustle right now. Oh man, I don't know how that feels. You definitely feel it. I definitely feel proud and I feel grateful, so grateful to my parents for teaching me that. I mean, my dad, he's a roofer. Like being that we literally, like I said, my dad was a roofer, single family income, 3 kids, and he made it work where he was able to get us into St. John, Indiana so we could go to a good school. Like, that just does something to you know?
Yeah. And then I don't mean just me knowing friends that who parents were like first generation immigrants. Like you all, it's a real thing because you want to work hard to show them that you appreciate their hard work.
Yeah.
You don't want to let them down, and
Yeah.
sometimes like it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To because they want you to do everything right. You go here, get grades, and if you get it, because like me, this is why I believe that like people who were raised in America and all this other stuff, our parents aren't immigrants. Man, we need to shut up and quit complaining because like my friend, if he got a B, he got like smoked by his daddy.
Really?
His daddy wanted to put foots in him.
Yeah.
Hey man, what's a B? So he had to keep A's.
Yeah.
Man, I'm over here. I got D's and F's and all this other stuff. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like, you want to work hard to show your parents that you appreciate them. What do your parents think about you now? Like the fact that you just grew into all this. I mean, like, do you have conversations about that?
So, my parents don't really understand what I do. I love them to death, but like a lot of time, like since I've started entrepreneurship, they're kind of like, oh, like they don't really understand it. They don't really, but I do think now we've gotten to the point where like, yes, like they are proud of what I do. They just don't fully like know what I'm doing.
Did you have any kickback from that? Because like I was gonna ask you, but I forgot. You left accounting in college, right?
Yeah.
And it did something that you don't have any degree in, or like you didn't go to. What you went to college for is not what you're doing.
Yeah.
Did they have a problem with that? Did they say anything to you about that?
Oh my God, again, it's so funny. My parents, like my mom is really strict. She's like the typical like strict Hispanic mom. But like my parents never really like fully cared what I did. And I think that actually helped me in the long run.
Yeah.
They were always so focused on like my brothers and stuff, especially with like the addiction and stuff. Like they were focused on that growing up. So that gave me the space to do things just for me. And I didn't do it for them. So I mean, like, yeah, they didn't care. They were kind of like, oh, cool, like good for you, but like, what are you doing? like what is brand? Like they don't understand branding. And I'm not saying that in a mean way or anything. They just don't fully get it. And so I don't really talk to them about like work too much. I kind of just
What's crazy, I got a friend in Alabama. He does coding. His parents are also first generation immigrants.
Yeah,
they don't know what he do either. That's why I laugh so hard. His mom always asks him, does he sell drugs?
Yeah.
Because they never see him leave a house.
Yeah.
Because he's always like doing remote work.
That's so
But
funny.
he has a nice house, nice car. And she's like, what do you do? He's like, I code. And she's like, like they don't really feel that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so before we leave, because I know we got to keep it short, because I know you got to go.
Yeah.
For the women that's out there that's on the fence about change, growth, and personal development, what would you say to them in order to get them started?
Yeah. I would say, similar to what we were saying, like be so okay with being the lone wolf, get so okay with being rejected, get so okay with not being accepted. And not that that's going to happen, but stop putting that desire for the validation, for the acceptance. Do it for yourself, and knowing that you're going to do something big and create great things for other people. Focus on that. It's all going to work out. But if you're focused on getting accepted and validated and being like fitting in, it's going to be harder.
Yeah, that's true. Like, and then also, sometimes you'll realize where you were trying to fit in at. Once you get in there, you're not gonna like it.
Exactly.
You're just not gonna like it. And so you gotta just be yourself, do things that you like, and you really gotta just march to the beat of your own drum.
Yeah.
And some people, I think they don't like making other people uncomfortable, but like, are you happy? You see what I'm saying? Can you go to sleep feeling okay with yourself? So when you wake up and you look in the mirror, you are happy with what's looking back at you.
Exactly.
So man, now we do have a tradition.
Yeah.
I will do the regular shake. So welcome to the Champions Club.
Thank
You're
you.
officially a member. And once a member, always a member. And I would love to get you back in the chair, just kind of do an update and kind of see how things are going. But thank you so much. I appreciate your time. How can people reach out to you or follow you?
At sisterhoodsocial.co on Instagram, Facebook, and at Jessica Enriquez on TikTok and Instagram.
All right, straight up.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
Thank you.
Hey.